Do you like the game? I mean these kinds of games. Before video games were considered a hobby for all ages, these are what were considered adult games. And if you feel a certain discomfort in the presence of these images, a certain intrinsic discomfort, it is because deep down you know that these games usually come with problems. Problems big enough to end your life. However, I'm not talking about the problems you're wisely imagining. I am talking to you about predicaments of a much darker nature than you can imagine. It is one of the most popular games of chance in the world. Its origin dates back more than 400 years. It is roulette, and although popular, very few know its origin. There are those who believe that the Ouija, patented in 1880, is the first object created with the intention of communicating with spirits. Centuries ago, at the end of the Middle Ages, the roulette had been created by occultists as an instrument of worship to the goddess Fortune. However, the church claimed that said deity was nothing more than a tribute to Lilith, Lucifer's wife. Roulette was used to predict luck, that is, the future of people. Its red and black colors had meaning. Black symbolized darkness. Red was nothing more than an allegory to the fire of hell. The roulette wheel has 36 numbers, which represent the next 3 years of a person's life. A small silver ball, emblem of the human soul, was thrown to find out the fate of said person during that period. Although roulette began as an esoteric instrument of fortune, it was soon used by astrologers, sorcerers, and witches to summon the devil himself and to negotiate with him. Offering consecration in this life to darkness, represented by black, and damnation in hell, the color red, in exchange for good fortune. Hence, at that time, it was known as the Ferris wheel. Ironic name, given that those were times when the mere fact of possessing one could mean condemnation from the Holy Office. And here's the story. Please let's go to the 20th century and judiciously explore the data from an investigation conducted by the FBI during the 1950s. The United States has had a very difficult relationship with gambling. Each state has its own laws in this regard, and you have to be very careful as a tourist, because, unknowingly, fooled by what you see in movies, you could be committing a serious crime. In that sense, the state of Nevada has been the great American and even Western experiment in reference to the legalization of gambling. It is not for nothing that Nevada is the state that is home to a city that you have surely heard of. Yes. The FBI conducted an investigation into the patterns of behavior that people had when it came to gambling in Las Vegas. It was done with the intention of exploring people's behavior in detail and studying their immense creativity to cheat and beat the house. It didn't take them long to notice that, of all the games, something strange was happening with roulette. Researchers began to notice that an excessively high number of people who won at the same time suffered problems. The FBI is nothing other than the American Federal Police, and is not there to study something as archaic as luck. So, what was it that caught your attention during that time, in reference to roulette. They suspected that the mafia attacked people who beat it. At first, they believed that this was precisely because organized crime had discovered the participants cheating. Therefore, the Bureau came to think that they were going to take the thugs of the worst and largest criminal families by the ankles, following the trail and investigating these deaths in detail. But they were left wanting. Although it was established that the number of deaths and tragedies among roulette winners was exorbitant compared to any other game, no relationship could be proven. Incredible thing. All that the Federal Bureau was able to establish in the end is that roulette brought bad luck to its winners. The case of a player known as William Arkins is legendary in the world of gambling because in a single night in Las Vegas, he reaped $850,000 using a roulette probability calculation technique. His happiness was short-lived, as less than 3 months later, he died in a car accident on a road in Arizona, the state of which he was originally from, when he collided with a bus full of passengers. But what caught the most attention was not only that it was the only fatality, but do you know the number of participants in the accident? Counting the passengers and Mr. Harkins himself. 36. A family from Illinois known and banned from several casinos for playing roulette in a premeditated and professional manner, based on a technique that involves counting the most frequent numbers of each of the devices for days and then betting alternately and winning them. After collecting a wet, estimated at $100,000, died in a gas explosion in their apartment. The father, Robert Alonso, his wife, Brittany Alonso, and their son, Josh Alonso, were cremated. The curious thing is that although some neighboring apartments were damaged, no other fatalities were recorded. The complex, by the way, had 36 units. As I told you, the Federal Bureau came to think that these were armed accidents, murders perpetrated by the mafias when they felt robbed. But it was not like that. Parapsychologist Alejandro Morgan has a theory. According to him, the Wheel of Fortune is a transaction mechanism. He claims that this game of chance should be eliminated or at least modified in its colors and numerical chain, with an attempt to nullify what he is convinced it is an extraordinary flow of very dangerous energy. And look how interesting, although many have called it crazy, I'm telling you something that is 100% real and verifiable.
Really?
In many countries around the world, after noticing this pattern of misfortunes in roulette or even related games, they'd added numbers to the sequence of 36.
6.
Such a thing happens in Uruguay, for example, where the 5 de Oro game organized by the state went from having 36 numbers to 44, a change that occurred after commented episodes of tragedy among its winners, which were already becoming popular knowledge. Alejandro Morgan affirms that the devil always leaves his signature on everything that belongs to him. To understand it, I myself ask you to please add the roulette numbers. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, and so on up to 36.
Please.
If you dare, You will soon see that the final result is 666.
6, 6.
Si el video te gustó, apreciaría mucho que comentaras algo, que le dieras pulgar arriba y, si no lo has hecho, que te suscribieras a este canal. Muchas gracias. Te ha hablado Dross y te deseo buenas noches.